Hello. Yes, I'm Sebastian Getman. I'm going to be talking to you about a AI Robo-Advisor. Um, and and basically what this is meant to do is I have been working inside the life insurance space for a couple of years now. I've worked within our data and engineering team. And we have multiple distributors that we work with to sell our life insurance products, right? And one of the issues that we face is specifically with our financial advisors. The financial advisors tend to not sell much life insurance. And we've done a bunch of studies with them, kind of focus grouping as to why this might be. And this isn't just an us problem. It's kind of across the board within the United States, where financial advisors have always reported that they lack the understanding of life insurance as a product to recommend it to their clients, thus causing them to just avoid it entirely and leading to their clients portfolios missing this risk management type entirely. This is part of the reason why 42% of Americans are either underinsured or uninsured, according to the 2024 Barometer study. What I'm looking to do is try to make their lives a little bit easier so that way they can actually understand life insurance, get the questions that they need answered, get their product info for the clients, and be able to basically use this platform as their little assistant throughout the process of selling and determining what life insurance and if life insurance is right for their client. So what this is a multi-agent AI robo-advisor platform designed to equip with advisors with the tools to better serve their clients. You can see the UI on the right here. It's mainly comprised of four different portions, or if you want to call them tools. New client assessments, the quick coverage calculator, the client portfolio assessment, and the Robo-Advisor chatbot. So as you can see here, this is the actual portal view to where they might be able to actually keep records of each client. And then I'm going to go a little bit down into the actual architecture and technology first, and then we're going to end with the demo because I feel like it's more valuable to understand what's going on as I'm going through it. So like I said, we have the quick calculator, new client assessment, portfolio assessment, and the chatbots. The quick calculator, just your quick 1 minute. I need to understand how much life insurance my client needs, right? The new client assessment is if you were talking to, for example, a potential new client and you wanted to see whether life insurance was right for them, and if so, what type of life insurance. And you can add them to your dashboard view, kind of save them. And then almost lastly, portfolio assessments. So this is where the agent can upload files on their current client base. So let's say they have a bunch of files on their current portfolio. They can upload these, or if they don't want to upload them, they can just put in the fields manually. And this is where AI first starts. Our LLM is going to embed the actual files that they upload, do some calculations in the background into the buckets that we have told it to put them into, and then come up with some unique recommendations at the very end as well. And then lastly, the main chunk is really the chatbot, which is meant to have all these three other things inside of it used as tools. And this one is kind of the more robust kind of version and the main product when we're talking about this actual tool and platform. So the high level architecture, I'm not going to go too deep, but we were using GPT-4o. We're using the text embedding three small model, quadrant, our chunk sizing. We're using multi-query and ensemble for the advanced retrieval methods. We are doing quality evaluations with RAGAS, and we are also doing external search when necessary for Tavili API. So this is just to refer back to if we have any kind of questions later down the line. But I did want to go over the high level architecture of how the chatbot is going to work when we go over that. Um, so you can kind of see here, it starts with the user inputs, which then gets sent to the intent classifier. This is to basically figure out what is the user actually trying to figure or ask, what's the complexity of their prompts, and do I need memory to be able to actually answer this? Do I need to go over our past discussions? And this will most likely route to one of these two places. And for the sake of simplicity, I've only done these kind of two branches here, although there technically are other branches it can go to. Most likely, it's either going to go to the calculator agent or the RAG agent. The calculator agent is what you have been familiar with so far. The quick calculator, the new client assessment, the portfolio analyzer, those being pulled in as tools for this agent to be able to use to be able to service whatever the person is actually asking for when it comes to a calculation. Note this is still prototype phase, so we do not have the new client assessment or the portfolio analyzer fully integrated into the chatbot yet. just because those are very deep in questions. So I didn't want to put them directly into the chatbot. And instead, what I'm trying to do is actually take those out as a new tab for the form to be completed and sent back to the chat as an output. So that's not done yet. That's in the next week or so. But we do have on the right side, this is where kind of the complexity comes in, is the RAG agent, right? So if they're trying to ask a question about, for example, what is indexed universal life, it would go down to the RAG agents, and the intent classifier will be sending whether we need memory for this, what the complexity is, what the intent is, and our RAG will go to our retrieval methods, and based off the complexity, either decide to do basic, multi-query, or ensemble, and also decide whether it needs to use memory as well. And then if based on the complexity, it could also go to external search. So if our intent classifier said, hey, this is a question that would be benefit from internal search, then we would use that as well. Take those chunks from RAG and external search together, mix them together to give a new retrieval output. This retrieval output is then run through a very quick RAG-AS evaluation, looking at faithfulness, relevancy, precision recall, and then sent to also kind of an editor agent, which tries to make slight adjustments based on that scoring. And then lastly, everything is sent through the compliance evaluation and editor agent. So we run another evaluation specifically looking at compliance kind of fields. And based off those scorings, we have our editor kind of put the final touches to make sure everything is compliant, since we are in a very regulated field. However, we are trying to get around that by speaking to the agent and not to the customer. So yeah, that's kind of how it's going to work. Now we are going to go to the demo. So you can see here in the demo, this is our dashboard view that we showed in the beginning. I'm going to quickly kind of go through this. So when we start the new client assessment, you'll see that a lot of these are forms in the beginning. So this new client assessment is going to ask for a bunch of personal details. We're not, for the sake of time, we're not going to go through all of this, but we're going to look at the output at the end. And you'll notice that the UX kind of gets it's more advanced and kind of solidified as time goes on, because I haven't been able to put all the finishing touches that I've been looking to do here. But it tells them the coverage need based off the details that they inputted, tells them the monthly cash value savings that's being recommended and the product that's being recommended, which in this case is the IUL track, tells them why, gives them a breakdown, and etc. Going to our next one, we have our quick calculator, which is meant to be the kind of 1-minute version of this, of the other one. And this one is where the UX starts to get a little bit more solidified in terms of recommended coverage, coverage gap, duration. Again, very similar in terms of output, just with a little bit more detail, or a little bit less detail than the new client assessment. And then in terms of tooling, we have our client portfolio as kind of the last thing. What I will show here is this is where AI first gets pulled in. I'm going to upload one of our CSVs, and this can take multiple files as well. This is a very, very dirty, unstructured CSV. A lot of work was put in to actually try to get this to embed and pull in the information in the right way across multiple different files, not just CSV. So the AI is taking this, kind of putting things in a bucket. When I press next, we're running some custom calculations in the background that I was talking about. And it's going to auto-populate the form with whatever information it was able to find semantically. So you can see here, it's filled out this information for us, kind of making it easy for the user to actually kind of finish up. Wrong tab. And then lastly, or not lastly, but you can see the output here for the client portfolio assessment, going over more in detail. The recommended coverage goes over the portfolio health, right? 68 out of 100. This portfolio needs attention. Goes into detail about, the benchmarking, the asset breakdown, how your portfolio looks in terms of benchmarks for your age group. Gives you your product recommendation, recommended IUL for this person. Tells you why IUL and how this can enhance your portfolio, and go more and more in detail as to everything that they might need to know about IUL and about continuing their policy. And some of this is hard-coded based off the product recommendation, and some of this is AI generated based off that input data. So for example, this here, actionable recommendations, is AI generated. And again, any of these, I didn't show this before, but any of these can either go to the Robo-Advisor or start application to continue or ask questions. And then lastly, we have our actual kind of meat, which is the AI Robo-Advisor. For the sake of time, I've also kind of put in some prompts in here already. So this is, for example, I asked, tell me about IUL. We can see that it actually went and used our RAG vector database to be able to pull this information with our disclaimers, and our response quality is 83%. You can see here, I then asked, can you expand on what you mean by cache value in that? Showing that it has session memory, so it knows that we were talking about cache value in the context of IUL. Again, it used RAG. We have our disclaimers, and our response quality went slightly up for that one. And then I asked, what are the current rates and premiums for term life insurance? For example, Progressive. This is meant to show the things in between, and you can see it pulled these. And then lastly, I'll just 1 second, the quick calculator, kind of pulling that as a tool here, showing the output at the very end. Sorry for being slow, but we mostly got through it. And now I'll move over to questions.